Good morning, students. Today we will continue with our chapter The Age of Revolutions. In our previous classes, we have studied about the American Revolution, and today we will study about the French Revolution. The French Revolution is regarded as one of the greatest landmarks of European history. The revolution began in 1789 and lasted till 1799. It began as an attempt to create a constitutional monarchy, but soon became a movement aimed at overthrowing the monarchy and establishing a republic in France. The main objective of the common people was to end the rigid social structure of the French society of the ancient regime, the feudal structure of the France at that time. The French Revolution propounded three great ideals that had an everlasting impact on human civilization. These ideas were liberty, equality, and fraternity. Now we will discuss the causes behind the French Revolution. First one is the social cause. For centuries, the French society was divided into three estates. The first estate consisted of clergy occupying the highest position. The second estate consisted of the nobility placed below the clergy. And the third estate comprised of the commoners. It included businessmen, merchants, court officials, lawyers, peasants, landlord, laborers, and servants. The first two estates together comprised only 10% of the total population. The third estate, which comprised about 90% of the population, was placed lowest in the order of the estate. The first two estates, though few in number, but they enjoyed several privileges by birth. They owned landed property. About 60% of the land belonged to the nobility, church, and the richer members of the third estate. In addition, the nobility and the clergy were exempted from the payment of taxes also. The third estate, they had to face a number of discrimination and oppression. They had to bear the burden of taxation levied by the king and the two estates. The peasants were forced to work for free for their lords. The workers were not allowed to leave their jobs without the consent of their employers. The professionals did not have any position in the society. Now, the political causes. The Bourbon dynasty had ruled over France since the late 15th century. The kings of the dynasty were absolute monarchs who believed in the divine right theory. They thought that they were answerable to God alone for their actions. Consulting common man, therefore, was not at all required. This caused discontent among the commoners. At the time of French Revolution, people were fed up with the autocratic rule of Louis XVI, who was a weak ruler. Under him, the administration had become corrupt and inefficient. The king also used his power for his own selfish ends and did not do much for the welfare of the people. Now we will discuss about the economic cause. The French government was heavily under debt, but the king used to spend freely from the state treasury to lead his luxurious life. To add to the burden, Louis XVI got himself involved in the American War of Independence. And because of that, this War of Independence brought the country to the brink of bankruptcy. The policy of exempting the rich from taxation never allowed the state treasury to be filled ever. So we have seen that the French government, they have not taken any proper step. This was the reason the country was facing the bankruptcy. Now we will discuss about the role of the philosophers. The intellectual base for the revolution was provided by the philosophers. Now, some philosophers were there, those who influenced the people by their writings, which exposed the evil of the French society. And these famous philosophers were Voltaire, John Locke, Montesquieu, and Rosario. The people were also inspired by the revolutionary ideas of liberty, equality, fraternity, and popular sovereignty. Now we will study about the American War of Independence. The French people were also inspired by the American War of Independence. Many French soldiers who participated in the American War, they came back and inspired people to fight against the despotic and unjust government. They made the French people realize that how the Americans fought against their government and they got the independence. So, in the same way, they inspired the French people also to fight against the unjust government. So, in this way, we have studied about the causes to spread the French Revolution. That's all for this class. Thank you, students.